Just wait, they said. Something big is coming. My name is Aaron. I'm 27 years old. I live alone in a small town near Denver, in a house I fixed up myself. I have a small business doing interior design. It's not fancy, but it pays the bills. My life is quiet and simple. My family doesn't really call me Aaron anymore. When they talk about me, if they talk about me, it's usually just my sister or her. Sometimes I wonder if they forgot me on purpose. 2 weeks before my birthday, my mom called. I thought it was a mistake, but she spoke first. "Hi honey, I was just thinking, when is your birthday this year?" I told her, June 14th, same as always. She giggled a little. "Maybe keep that day free, don't make plans. Something is being planned." I asked what it was. She only said, "You'll see, it's big." 3 days later, my older brother Zach sent me a message. "Clear your day. You'll like what's coming. It's about time." Zach doesn't usually message me unless he wants design advice or gift ideas for mom. This time, he said nothing like that. It made me pause. My family doesn't do surprises for me. Not really, not since college. One year they sent a group text with 2 emojis and no name. Another year they promised a party but it never happened. Still, this felt different, like they were actually planning something, and I wanted to believe them. So I canceled my work visit, said no to dinner with a friend, and even bought a small chocolate cake with a sugar flower on top, from the bakery Dad used to visit when I was a kid. I cleaned the kitchen, lit a candle, and set 2 plates on the table, not because I thought someone would come, but just in case. I put on the pearl earrings Grandma gave me when I was 16 and waited. By noon, I checked my messages many times. By 2 p.m., I was looking at Zach's social media to see if anything was happening. The candle burned low, the sugar flower started to melt, the silence felt heavy. I wondered, did they even remember me, or did they just want me to hope? At 2:30, the candle was half melted, the flower drooped. I moved the plate, planning to wait until dinner. I kept the table set for 2. I told myself maybe something would happen later, maybe a video call, a surprise delivery, or a message saying, "Close your eyes." I didn't really believe it, but I kept hoping. I walked around the house, fixing picture frames and folding blankets, anything to pass time without staring at my phone. At 4:15, I checked my phone again. No new messages, just a reminder to update software and an email from a furniture seller. I thought about calling them to ask, "Is something still coming?" But I was too afraid. I didn't want to seem desperate or be ignored. At 5, I sat at the table, staring at the empty plate. I poured a glass of wine, not to celebrate, but to hold something other than my phone. I ate 1 bite of cake. It tasted like silence. By 6:15, I opened Instagram, not to post, just to scroll. Everyone else seemed to be out, at dinners, parks, parties, smiling with balloons or wearing funny hats. I told myself people only post happy moments, but my phone was still quiet, no messages, no birthday wishes. I checked the family group chat. The last message was from 5 days ago, a photo of my cousin's dog in a silly sweater. Zach had replied, "Legend." I added a heart, no one noticed. By 7, the candle burned out. I thought I might cry, but I didn't. No anger, no sadness, just quiet. I wasn't waiting anymore, but I still wondered what the big thing was, and why it didn't include me. At 7:45, I opened Instagram again. I told myself it was just boredom, but I was hoping for one photo, one mention, even a candle emoji. Instead, I saw a new story from Mallory's account. I tapped it. It showed string lights hanging over a wooden deck, then moved to a long dinner table. My parents, Zach, Aunt Denise, even Uncle Leo from far away. Everyone was smiling, glasses raised, napkins on laps. The family cabin, the one we stopped going to because it was too far or needed fixing, the one I always said I could help repair, the one they said no one used anymore. Above the table, there was a banner with uneven gold letters, "Zach and Mallory forever starts now." The caption said, "A night to remember, DOS engaged again, family first." I blinked and read it again. Engaged again. They were having a second engagement party, not the first one, just a do-over. And somehow, that party was more important than my birthday. They hadn't forgotten me, they had just made a choice. Then I saw her. Mallory, wearing soft pink, smiling and laughing, her head tilted just enough to show the necklace, the locket. It caught the light for a moment. I knew it right away. Oval, smooth on the edges, with little leaves carved around it. My grandmother's necklace. She wore it every holiday and at every graduation. She let me hold it when I was 12 and said quietly, "This is for you when you grow up, when it's your time." After Grandma died, I asked about it once. Mom said she was keeping it safe. That was the last I heard, until now. Mallory was wearing it like it was just a pretty necklace. No meaning, no care. I swiped to the next story. My mom was hugging her, wiping a tear. The caption said, "Gained a daughter tonight." My stomach tightened. It wasn't that they didn't invite me. It was that I didn't belong anymore. And they didn't feel sorry. They were proud enough to post it for everyone to see. I wasn't forgotten by accident. I was replaced on purpose, with a toast. And maybe the worst part wasn't what they took from me. It was how easily they gave it away. I was 12 the last time I held the locket. Grandma took it off slowly, like she already knew time was running out. We sat on her screened porch, with a tray of orange slices between us. The summer air was thick and sweet. She looked right at me, not through me, not past me, just at me. "You've got quiet eyes," she said, "like your mom did when she was little." Then she opened the necklace and put it in my hand. "This one's for you," she whispered, "when you're older, when the time is right." Inside was a photo of her and Grandpa on their wedding day, both smiling like they'd done something funny. On the other side was a small folded paper heart, cut unevenly. My name was written on it in fading blue ink, Aaron Lee. I asked, "Should I keep it now?" She smiled, "No, but you'll know when it's yours." After she died, I waited a few months and asked Mom about it. She brushed it off. "Oh, that old thing? I think I packed it with her scarves. I'll check later." She never checked. And I never asked again. I told myself it wasn't about the locket. It was just a thing. I had the memory, and that should have been enough. But I lied to myself many times over the years. I told myself Grandma didn't forget me in her will. Maybe the lawyer made a mistake. Maybe Mom was too sad and meant to give it back to me later. But it never came back. Then I saw the locket on Mallory's neck, like it was nothing, just part of her fancy dress. That's when I understood. They didn't forget my name. They saw it and decided it didn't matter. The locket wasn't just metal. It was proof that someone once told me, "You matter most." And now that proof belonged to someone who wasn't even there when it was promised. That night, I said nothing. Not to Mom, Zach, or Mallory. There was nothing to say that wouldn't sound small compared to what they'd done. Instead, I put my phone face down and closed the curtains. By morning, I felt empty. Not sad or angry, just done. I opened the family group chat. Scrolled through months of photos, links, and messages about Paul's dog, birthday wishes for Zach, and Aunt Denise's casserole recipes. My name hardly ever showed up. It wasn't a mistake. It was a pattern. I left the group. No warning, no, "Are you sure?" Just gone. Then I went on Instagram. I unfollowed Zach and Mallory. I muted Mom. Not to be mean, but to survive. Then I stopped. I opened Zach's profile one last time. His story was still there. He had posted a short video of Mallory blowing out candles. Dad was clapping, Mom was holding a wine glass, and Zach's voice said, "To the only woman who ever made this family feel whole." I watched that line 3 times. The only woman. So that's what I was now, a space to be filled, a silence waiting to be replaced. It wasn't just Mom and Dad who let me go. It was Zach too. The same brother who once built Lego bridges with me for days. The same Zach who called me after his first breakup, asking if sadness was supposed to feel like hunger. He told me to clear my day, then used it to celebrate someone else. "No sorry, no explanation. Just forgetting me." I closed the app. That afternoon, I packed up the last picture of all 4 of us. It was taken at the cabin, before Mallory, before the silence. I wrapped it in newspaper and put it in the back of the closet. I didn't throw it away, but I didn't need to see it anymore. That night, I didn't light a candle or check my phone. I watched the sky darken and let it be quiet. Not the quiet of being forgotten, but the quiet of finally stopping the wait. And the question I hadn't asked until now. If this is how they act when they say they love me, what would they do if I asked for nothing? 3 days later, I got a message. Not from Mom or Dad. It was Zach. "Hey, saw you left the group. Everything okay?" I stared at the screen. It was the kind of text you send when you already know the answer but hope they lie to make it easier. I didn't answer. 4 hours later, another message. "Look, I get you're upset. But can we talk?" Mallory didn't mean anything. Neither did Mom. Still no reply. The next day he called. I let it ring twice. Then he texted again. "You're my sister. That has to mean something, right?" I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it sounded like something from a show neither of us believed in anymore. At the end of the week, Mom emailed. "We missed you last weekend. It was all very last minute. Hope you're well. Let's catch up soon." No mention of my birthday. No sorry. Just empty words. But the subject stayed with me, still family. Still, as if they thought it was good enough to think of me at all. A few days later, Zach showed up at my door. No call first. Just stood there with a bag of bagels from our favorite bakery like that could fix everything. I opened the door, but not fully. He held out the bag, blueberry and plain, like always. I didn't take it. He looked uncomfortable. Look, Aaron, I know you're hurt, but do you really want to make this a big deal? It was just a party. It wasn't about you. I said nothing. He sighed. I'm getting married. Can we not fight about this now? There it was. Not asking for understanding, just for peace. His kind of peace. Can we just move on? He said softer. I looked at him, not as my brother, but as someone who chose a side and wanted me quiet. I said the only thing I knew he wouldn't argue with. I'm not trying to ruin anything, Zach. I'm just done pretending. He nodded like that was settled, like I agreed to be quiet. But I didn't. I just agreed to be done. I didn't go to the bridal shower. Didn't RSVP. Didn't answer the invitation from Mallory's cousin with the pastel pictures and fake excitement. I wasn't surprised they invited me. It looked good and made things seem okay. On paper, it showed there were no hard feelings. I left the invitation unopened in my inbox until it expired. A week later, Mom called. This time, I answered. Sweetheart, she said, like nothing had happened. Everyone missed you. I stayed quiet. Zach said, you're still upset. We didn't mean to leave you out. Things just happened fast. You know how it is. I almost said, I know exactly how it is. But I didn't. Sometimes silence speaks louder when people expect forgiveness. Then Mom asked, will you come to the wedding at least? It's important to your brother. I didn't answer right away. I looked around my home, the life I built without them, and finally said. I used to be there. You just didn't see me. The line went silent. Not because she hung up, but because the words hung in the air. Mom cleared her throat. That's not true, honey. But it was true. And she knew it. I didn't say anything else. I didn't hang up. I just stayed quiet until she said. Well, let me know. Click. I sat with the silence for a long time. No anger, no sadness. Just stillness. Not waiting, but finished. I used to be there. You just didn't see me. A week before the wedding, I wrapped the locket. Not in a gift box or pretty paper, just a plain white envelope like one used for bills. I put the locket inside, still warm from my hand. No note, no card. Just the necklace. I took it to the post office myself. The clerk asked if I wanted tracking. I said no. I wrote the address by hand, Mallory Green, CO, Zachary West. Then I mailed it. No return address, no name, just the locket going where they thought it belonged. I didn't want it back. I didn't want them to understand. I just wanted it out of my house. That Sunday, I got one last message from Zach. Did you send this? I didn't answer. There was nothing left to say. That night, I took down the last family photo in my hallway. I put up something I had framed years ago but never showed, a simple sketch I made in college. A charcoal drawing of a chair, sitting off to the side in an empty room. One empty chair. Still. I hung it straight, stepped back, and looked. A reminder that I was there. I stayed at the table long after my seat was cleared. They wouldn't say my name at the wedding. They wouldn't toast me in their speeches. They might not even notice the envelope. But deep down, they would know. They would know I saw everything. I remembered. And I left the door open behind me, not to come back, but so they'd know I didn't have to. If you ever leave quietly, just so they feel the silence more, you don't need to explain. Just leave a dot.